What's up, Ringside Nation? The Ring Boys are back. Down one on the evening. Docking out of 10 here with my beautiful, lovely co-host, Artie. Artie, how we feeling?
Good. Good
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Great weekend. Good fight card. Good big win for Francis Ngannou after an emotional roller coaster of a camp and a year for him finally being able to get a mixed martial arts bout in, defeat Renan Ferreira. Love to see that. Great for the sport. And then we had a UFC card. Picks are on the screen. Rob Font, big upset. Michelle Pereira upset us. Overall, decent showing for MMA. And yeah, Artie, what are your thoughts on just this overall card before we close out and get into 308 and Ngannou?
No, I guess nothing crazy. Just like a lot of like older names that you would expect to win. Like I knew that Kyler Phillips being minus 450 was way too high. Rob Font is a very good fighter. He is getting up in age, but he's not anybody to just kind of look at and be like, oh, okay, whatever. I think his last loss was to Figueiredo, right?
Yeah.
And the one before that was to Corey Sandhagen. So like, I mean, yeah, those are two top tier guys in that division. So Rob Font's still good. Just needed to get a good comeback. Otherwise, like it was definitely a card. Like I don't know. Anthony Hernandez. Like I think we need to see a little bit more from him. Whatever fight he gets next, he's shown that he can just beat guys, but he hasn't shown that he can finish anybody yet. Like Michel Pereira couldn't put his arms up and he couldn't finish the fight. Like it's a little questionable, but whatever, I guess.
Yeah, it was tough to watch. I thought he was going to at least do a little bit better on the striking earlier, and I thought his gas tank was going to be decent. So, yeah. Not even going to have the discussion of Francis Ngannou being the best heavyweight in MMA as everyone's flaming Twitter right now. But yeah, decent overall weekend. Screw Austin Lane for absolutely ruining my lock of the card. And I know, Artie, you saw it coming. Rub it in all you want. Rub it in all you want. But what you won't rub in is how 308 is going to go, because my boy behind me is fighting. I promise you. He's fighting, finally showing up. UFC 308 in Saudi Arabia, in Abu Dhabi. Correction. Max Holloway going to take on Ilya Topuria. I'm rocking with Topuria. I think 27-year-old, youngest UFC champ, youngest aura coming out of the bout. I think Max Holloway's riding that UFC 300 hype. I think Topuria is going to be absolutely chiseled and ready to go. I don't think Max Holloway has a chance. I think he has a chance. I think he can definitely do it. I wouldn't be shocked if Ilya wins, but I just think Topuria is the next thing to break into MMA. And I think he's going to be here whether we want him to or not. And yeah, we'll get into my lock of the card here soon. But Artie, as you make the stank face, go ahead. What your thoughts are on our main event?
Max is 32. Like, what's the next big thing? It's not like Max is like 36 on his way out, and like, this is going to be like more of a farewell type of thing where we get somebody like Dustin Poirier fighting Islam Makhachev one more time because it's going to be his last chance at a belt. Max Holloway is Max Holloway. I'm not going to say like I'm shocked at the way that the odds look, because Ilya has been very impressive, but realistically, unless Ilya comes out and he shocks everybody and he starts wrestling, this is going to be a close fight. Ilya does have crazy power. Max definitely more of somebody who's going to put pressure on people and try to beat them by damage and just putting out the numbers. But I think this is going to be a lot closer than people think it will be. But I'm really looking forward to this one. It's just been this like if you think of a roller coaster on the way up, we're still on the way up because Ilya is still talking smack on Twitter. It needs to happen, right? Everybody's been waiting for this. This is the time for him to back it up. And like, I don't blame anybody for picking him. It's a good pick. But I do think it's going to be a lot closer than anybody expects it.
I think this is the closest fight of the year. I genuinely do. I think this is probably the best matchup stylistically I've seen all year that I've been personally excited for. And what a card to back it. You know what I mean? Max Holloway riding this UFC 300 hype. Taporia just putting out Volk to win the belt. Them going back and forth saying put up BMF, put up, everything on it. Even Taporia saying, hey, first 10 seconds, I'll meet you in the middle. Let's just let the gloves flare off right away. And I think he's actually going to do it. I think Max would be a fool to actually step in and do it. I think the longer this goes, the better it would be for Max. And the shorter it is, the more of a chance Ilya has. So we'll see. We'll see if it's a knockout for Taporia or if it's a point fight victory in Holloway. I honestly don't think it'll go either way. But nonetheless, Artie, now we finally get to talk about it. My boy is here. Khamzat Chimaev fighting. And he's going to win. Khamzat Chimaev fighting Robert Whittaker on the co-main. So you and I were talking about this behind the scenes. It is 5 rounds. I am slightly concerned. But I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I'm genuinely riding with my guy. It's been 375 days since he's fought. But illnesses, whatever, you got to remember, it's in Abu Dhabi. It's in the Etihad Arena. It's where he's comfortable. I think people are really underlooking that. Again, I was debating on taking Whittaker just because it was 5 rounds. I was literally it felt like I was on my March Madness bracket stuff again, just throwing pencils up and seeing which one falls. It's like, who am I going to pick? Who am I going to go with? But I got to stay loyal to the soil. And I do think Khamzat Chimaev will have his hand raised at the end of this. Artie?
I think because it is 5 rounds, I think Rob is going to have the upper hand in this fight. I know Khamzat is really good on the ground. He's very impressive. But Robert Whittaker he comes from a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu gym. For him to come into this fight and not be ready to defend takedowns I would be mind blown. This dude has done this so many times at this point, and he's only 33. He's still young. His last win actually was in the UAE. So, comfort or not comfort, that's where he just was too. He's been training there. He knows, he probably has a gym that he's been going to. I would not be shocked if Khamzat is able to win this some way somehow. But I think Rob is just he's a level above in the competition than Khamzat has ever faced. Obviously Khamzat's faced Kamaru Usman. That was short notice. It was Kamaru Usman's kind of a shell of himself, but I don't know. This is going to be a very, very good fight. I think this is going to be more of a chess match. I don't think Khamzat's going to run out there and tackle him to the ground, and we're going to see all that crazy stuff. This will definitely be, I think, maybe even more exciting than the main event, because main event's going to be more or less just striking, and they're going to go all for it. But this is going to be silent, technically probably one of the better fights on this whole card.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole card is awesome. The whole main card is fire. And I do think Khamzat's going to come out right out the gate. That's what he does all the time. But you have to think, the cardio, how's his hand? And I agree, that Kamaru Usman fight, yeah, it's a big name. It's Kamaru, but it's not Kamaru when he was in his prime. It was a 3-round fight. Khamzat broke his hand during that, and it wasn't the same Khamzat. So, I don't know. It's on. I'm surprised the odds are this high for Khamzat. I wouldn't have been shocked if this would have been a pick'em.
The top 2, the main and the co-main could have been both a pick'em.
Yeah,
realistically,
agreed.
I don't know. I'm shocked. Some of the odds don't make sense too often, but Vegas does tend to know more than we know for whatever reason. But I think that's the beauty of MMA is you could have somebody who's plus minus 1,000, and it's just what happens out in the octagon is completely different than what people could ever expect.
Any given Sunday, baby. Any given Sunday. Another banger of a fight, and another undefeated fighter, Lerone Murphy versus Dan Ige. Dan Ige coming in on the shortest notice of all time in UFC history and almost winning is crazy. Now think what you get. He's with his family. He's cooking with his family. He's in his own camp. He's here early. Maybe Dan Ige, I think, I agree with you, Artie. I think he has what it takes to upset Lerone Murphy. Both guys have fought in the Etihad Arena, so this isn't anything new to them. They've been in this territory. They know what the altitude's like. They know, the humidity. plays a factor in cardio. And this is going to be a good fight. If Khamzat and Whitaker weren't on this would have been a surefire thing for the co-main event. And I think this one's going to be, I think this has potential to be fight of the night if the other two somehow upset us. Artie?
Yeah, I fully agree. And I just noticed, I think they switched the order of these just recently. So it's going to be that fight before the Dan Ige fight. But I think Dan Ige is the type of person that he's super resilient. He is like probably one of the more exciting fighters. Like the fight with him and Diego was insane. It was so much fun to watch. I think Dan Ige in a full camp and actually at his weight that he usually fights is a very dangerous fighter. I think this is somebody who was really on the up and up, and I'm not sure what really kind of stopped. He hasn't fought in a very long time before he had to fill in there. I'm just very excited for this one. This should also be a very, very good fight. Lerone Murphy, definitely good. There are certain guys that I think are a level above than what most people have fought. And I know Danny Ige is kind of on the tail end of the rankings, but he is really, really, really good. So I don't think we can just look over him. And, once again, the odds are kind of high for Lerone, but it is what it is.
Very high, in my opinion, mind you. I mean, you look at Dan Ige's resume, like he just fought Diego, who, mind you, almost won, even though it was a unanimous decision. If you really watched and paid close attention to the fight, there were definitely sparks. Beat Andre Feely, fought Bryce Mitchell, fought Movsar Aloyev a couple years ago, and Josh Emmett. Like, he's fought a lot better talent. So I get the fact that Lerone's, riding the wave and maybe the more chiseled fighter right now. But in UFC, man, any given Sunday, any night in the ring, anyone can win. Plus, like 95% of the time this year, the main card, there's been one underdog that's been covered. And I think Dan Ige is realistically the only one to be on the card from my perspective. So I know you see it different with the other two, but nonetheless. Now that you completely threw my order off, we got to go back up now and hit the bell for our boy from the Gucci flip-flop parlay, Magomed Ankalaev. I don't think it's going to be close. I think Rakic is a really good fighter. No. Hear me out. I think Rakic is a really good fighter. And I think he gave Erie a good run for his money. But after his leg popped out, and like in the training videos I was watching, like his coach said, yeah, like in the middle of the fight, he said, I can't feel my leg. You got to wonder, does Magomed know that information now? Is he going to take that into account? And I think if you know that, he, fought pretty recently. I wonder how really set his leg is. And I think he's going to be fighting semi-injured. And I think we really overlook that. Like, I forget what his name was, but he fought pretty recently and then said, he was hurt when he lost. But nonetheless, I think people are overlooking that. Not even just the fact of how talented and good Magomed is. I think Rakic is in 100% for this fight. But that's just my due diligence. Artie?
Yeah, I agree. I think he is fighting a little too close to his last fight. Because he fought Jiri on what, 300?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Okay. And that was in April. I guess that's not that close. Yeah, I don't know. I think Magomed's going to win. However, it's going to be a unanimous decision. But here's what I'll say. If it is what you say it is, and it's not even close, and Magomed comes out there and he proves a point, then we should be looking at Magomed Ankalaev and thinking, why has this guy not gotten a title shot yet?
Absolutely.
At number 2 or number 1, wherever he's at. Like, there might be somebody who's mad at him in the UFC matchmaking, but I don't know. If he comes out and he absolutely steamrolls Rakic, then okay, sure. But I think this is going to be a decision win, which is probably why he hasn't gotten a title shot yet. He doesn't have anything quite, that impressive to show for a fight.
Yeah. Agreed fully. Yeah, and like Pereira has said before, like, Dana and team have come to me and we think that's a boring fight. And I don't think it's a boring fight. I think it's a fight that Alex Pereira is afraid to take because he might actually lose that one. Would I bet Magomed over Pereira if that does happen? Absolutely not. But I think that's realistically the closest we're going to see, apart from Israel Adesanya beating him, to Pereira losing anytime soon, at least.
I would bet on Magomed. If Magomed comes out and wrestles and stops saying the stupid stuff of I'm going to stand there and strike with the scariest dude on earth, like, yeah, he could easily win that fight. And I don't know. I would be excited to see it. I don't know. I'm also on a very different spectrum of MMA fans where I enjoy the mixed part of martial arts, and not everybody else does. I think I do enjoy a lot of like good technical fights, which in my opinion we haven't had a ton of lately. That's why we get so excited for these big pay-per-views, because this whole main card, outside of one of the fights that we still are yet to get to, is going to be technically very, very sound and very fun to watch. But yeah, I hope
Well,
Magomed wins.
agreed. I mean, I honestly, if they did 5 rounds for all 5 of these fights for on the main card, like that's not me just like BSing. Like I would really love to see all these fights. Maybe not Shara and Armin, but we'll talk about that now. Listen, I was gonna pick after watching Shara's last performance. You know, there are a ton of flaws in his game. But Artie, you got to think the energy in Abu Dhabi, man. The Gucci flip flop parlay banner is in the rafters. Are we going to see you change your pick live on the air?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Armin's really good. Shara is pretty good. I think. So for Shara, this is going to be one of those. I keep saying this. This is going to be a step up in competition. I don't think he's fought anybody as good as Armin in the UFC yet. Like, yeah, he fought Bruno Silva. You know, that went to a decision. Bruno Silva's also super washed at this point, in my opinion. Um, I like Shara. I know what you're saying. Like, the energy is going to be like crazy, but I do think in a fight like this where Armin's a Muay Thai specialist, that having only one working eye is gonna be something that kind of is unfortunate for Shara. But that's why I'm picking Armin. I think Armin is good. I don't, this should just be exciting. We're gonna see. This is probably not gonna go to the third round, in my opinion. It's somebody's getting knocked out. Or Shara is just going to get absolutely winded in a second. Or like I think he usually goes like 7.5 minutes, and then it's downhill from there. I don't know. I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, agreed. That's your main card. Prelims and the prelim picks are on here. We could spend 3 hours talking about this entirety of the card, but just flash the picks on there again. Locks the card. Artie's taking Farid Bashrat. I'm taking my boy, obviously, Khamzat Chimaev. And Doc taking Magomed Ankalaev. Yeah, I mean, really excited. I'm also hyped that these fights start in the morning. Get your whole Saturday night to go off and do whatever you'd like. And then I'll just leave it with the conversation of Artie. Do we see the Dagestani Gucci flip flop parlay part 2 sequence cooking behind the scenes? We might have to tweet it before the fights, though. We might have to cook something up for the boys.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I'm just excited for this one. I'm pretty excited for a lot of the prelims as well. There's a few really good fights. I don't know. It should be good. And like you said, watching this at like 4 or 5 p.m. is so much better than having to stay up. Oh man, I get pumped thinking about it because I'm tired right now. I don't know. I'm hyped. I'm looking forward to it. We don't get a ton of very good pay-per-views, and they definitely go all out whenever they go to UAE. So I'm hyped.
Yes, sir. Couldn't agree with you anymore. Nonetheless, this has been the Ring Boys. This is our picks by the Common Man for the Common Man, and we'll see you guys in the post show. Bye bye.